takes a little bit of meandering, a little bit of fixing here. So anyway, guys, this is advanced training is great. Like I love training, but understand training is just it's to get you competent. It's not to get you good at the job. So your level of proficiency is going to move up when you start to understand these concepts. Because the bottom line is this: I love teaching this stuff because this is stuff I actually care about. I was talking to Brian this morning over donuts at 7 a.m. Talking about this. So I'm fired up to share with you guys. So really quick, guys, there's gonna be some stuff that you should definitely write down. I want you to think about. So here's the first thing I want you to think about. This is true about life. 80% of success is psychology. 20% is mechanics. So it's not necessarily what you're doing, but it's going to be how you think about things or how you're showing up. That's going to make you successful or not successful. Okay. So please write that down. 80% of success is psychology. 20% is mechanics. So the reality is we could throw a bunch of information at you, but there's really no point to give you more information and new information if you haven't got down the fundamentals of what we taught you in training. You don't really ever have to learn a whole lot more that we taught you in the initial training to be really, really good at this job. C. Mitchell and I'm blanking out on who it just was, but they're both at over $5,000 in sales after 3 days. So that's a mental psychology of things. So the purpose of me talking today is really going to help you guys kind of understand the mental aspect of it. Because if you can understand the mental aspect, you got 4/5 of it down. Now you just got to follow the program. It's pretty straightforward. So I want you to write this down too, because this is relevant. Nothing has meaning other than the meaning you choose to give it. I think about this all the time. Nothing has meaning other than the meaning you choose to give it. So if something happens to you, it's your job to interpret it. Sometimes we have beliefs, sometimes we have systems in place that make us think that it's a bad thing. But the reality is nothing's bad, nothing's good. It's up to you to define what it means. So I challenge you to do that, because if you're leaning into things like, why do these bad things always happen to me? It's because you're choosing to see it that way. You can also choose it to see as a learning opportunity or an opportunity to build character. It's kind of on you to figure that out, at least once you're aware of it. It's also possible that you grew up in an environment that this was never taught, that people complain around you, so you think it's natural to complain, and rather than do something about it, you complain about it. Well, I'm here to tell you, again, nothing has meaning other than the meaning you choose to give it. So it's kind of on you to make the decision of what it means and how can you use it as an empowering meaning versus a disempowering meaning. When you start to understand this, guys, life literally is easy, because nothing can affect you at that point. You're like, yeah, that wasn't what I wanted, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, I want to build you guys your mental fortitude up, because if you have that, you're going to be badasses at this and anything else you choose to do. Okay, so one last thing about this is what's wrong is always available, and so is what's right. So let's just do a little 30-second right now. I want you to write down all the things that are good in your life. Just go, just free flow, 30 seconds. What's great? Hey, it's snowing outside. I'm in slippers. That's pretty awesome. I'm not in the snow. I'm wearing some UGG slippers. That's pretty awesome. I got a sweet sweatshirt on. I love it. I had donuts with Brian. That's pretty sweet. My girlfriend called to make sure I had coffee. Those are good things. Could I also complain that it's snowing? Dude, you live in Wisconsin. Of course it's going to snow. Move if you don't want it to snow. You guys feel what I'm saying? Just write down 30 seconds. Just kind of just blast it out. What are you grateful for? Because that's always available to you. Maybe you got an awesome family, dog, girlfriend, situation, boyfriend too. Don't want to just, talking about me, right? So what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. So what you choose to focus on, you're going to get more of. It's that simple, okay? So really quickly, by the way, do we got some good stuff? We got some stuff that you're like, yeah. Does anyone feel a little bit better? Just the fact that you wrote it. A lot of times if things are floating in your head, they don't actually exist. And as soon as you write them down, they are now in existence. That's the beautiful part about this stuff. You write something down, it becomes an existence. And now it exists in the world. Before it didn't. It was in the nether regions of your brain, which I don't even know where that is, right? So let's go with it. Here's the first question I want you guys to do, because here's my belief. You guys are in one of two places right now after your first couple appointments. If you aren't having the success you want, you have a belief that's not serving you. And here's probably the belief. And if I could see a show of hands, I'm going to stop my show this is going to make it more complicated for me, but I'm going to do it. How many of you guys currently right now feel like you're doing something to somebody versus for somebody? Does anyone feel like they're doing something to somebody versus for somebody? Ravel, Ben. Ben hasn't even done an appointment. He's already feeling that way. I got some work to do. Okay, Mitchell, kind of. Okay. Here's the reality, guys, is this. You're either feeling like you're doing something to somebody or something for somebody. What do you think is going to be a more successful way to look at this? It's going to be you're doing something for somebody. So I want to just kind of get an idea where we're at. Here's the reality. The people that are succeeding at the highest level, I believe, probably think that they're doing something for somebody versus to somebody. It's that simple. So I like taking books and concepts and applying it different places because that gives me a holistic view of the world. So from this book, Hooked, is where I got this concept that I'm going to share with you guys here in a second. All right, here it is. Well, first of all, this is something that, again, let's go back to training. And there's two beliefs I think you should have in order to sell Cutco. First is, are people better off with Cutco or without Cutco? So these are questions you can ask yourself to make this really kind of like binomial, right? Like this or that. So are people better off with Cutco or without Cutco? If you guys can't say they're better off with Cutco, we got to put you back through training and we got to spend some time with you because you should have left training thinking people are better off with Cutco than without Cutco. That's simple. Second question, are people better off with more Cutco or less Cutco? Really simply, I believe emphatically they're better off with more Cutco than less Cutco. I don't care who you are. You're better off with some Cutco than no Cutco, and you're better off with more Cutco than less Cutco. It's that simple. I don't have one pair of shoes. I have 20, right? I don't have one thing. Typically, I have multiple things. I would love to have 2 cars, an SUV and a coupe, but we're working on that right now. Having more is typically better than having less in anything. And I think Cutco specifically, if they buy one piece, that's great because they get a feel for it, but they're going to use it for everything. And it's not going to work as effectively as it should for the things it's supposed to be used for. Do you guys understand that concept? So our job is really simple, is to show them options to help them get what's best for them. But if they get one piece of Cutco, I'm still happy with that because now what? They get a taste. They get a taste of Cutco. And I like when I give people a taste because you know what's going to happen? They're going to want some more Cutco. It's that simple. So my job is to get them something. And I believe this since I was a rep. I asked myself these same questions when I was a brand new rep. And ironically, I had an 80% closing ratio as a rep. Right? I had an 80% closing ratio my entire career because I was like, I don't know if they're going to get everything, but they should at least get something. And so my attitude, my mentality was that every time I go into an appointment, I don't know if they're going to get everything, but they should at least get something. And that's what I basically told myself at every appointment, regardless of the situation. And sometimes they chose not to get anything, but most times they got something, right? So go figure. So here's what I want to show you guys, because I think this matters, okay? This is something from the book, okay? And it talks about this. There's 2 fundamentals. You could be one of 4 quadrants. You could be either a dealer, a broker, a pusher, a promoter, okay? Really simple. There's 2 matrix, right? Here it is. There's 2 lines, X, Y axis. Do you believe the product that you sell makes life better, right? Or you believe it doesn't really make someone's life better? That's one quadrant, right? That's one axis. And the other one is, do you use the product yourself or do you not use the product? Now, some of you guys actually have grown up with Cutco in your house, right? So you guys know that the products are really good. Some of you guys, unfortunately, you're just like me where I didn't use the product because we didn't have the product at my house available. I did use it in training when we did virtual or in-person training, right? We used to cut stuff, but I was like the cool kid that was like, they're like, cut a tomato. I'm like, yeah, all right, cool, sweet. Yeah, I get it, cut stuff. It wasn't until my parents got Cutco and I remember freaking out about the table knives. I was like, holy, this cuts chicken. And I had been telling people for weeks it cuts chicken. But until I actually cut chicken, I was like, holy shit, this actually cuts chicken. This is amazing. People were like, oh my gosh, it cuts chicken. And because I was so fired up about it cutting chicken, people were like, I want a knife that cuts chicken. Even though the knife probably cut chicken and it probably took 5 seconds to cut a piece of chicken. And now it took a second. I was like, this cuts chicken. And it was fired up. You guys understand what I'm saying? So here's what I want you to be excited about. If you don't currently have Cutco, you're about to in about 6 to 10 days. You're going to get some Cutco, which fires me up. So my belief is you should be one of 2 places, okay? Ideally, you want to be a broker, right? You definitely do not want to be a pusher. If you feel like you're pushing this product, boy, we got to do some fix. We got to do a reset hard. So let me explain the differences. Really simple. Brokers use their own products. They believe people can materially improve their lives by that product. This is why conviction is so important. If you will do anything, you should do it with conviction so you can speak with enthusiasm and excitement and certainty. Do you guys hear how I talk when I talk about something? I talk like this at all times. Amanda, we were having a conversation yesterday. It was my tone basically this. It was basically this. I don't really do, yeah, so, I mean, you could if you want, but you don't have to. I don't want to live my life like that. I want to live my life excited and in integrity and fired up about shit, whatever it is. I want to be excited about it. Okay. Have a high conviction. You guys believe that? Where do you think I am on this scale, by the way? I'm a freaking broker. I will broker Cutco and people all the time together because I think it's good. It's like Compton and Long Beach together. Now it's nothing but trouble. Okay. If you guys don't know that reference, you should really Google some songs from the 90s hip hop. Okay. Intention is really important. You'll handle objections. You'll look as a broker in a relationship, right? And they have the highest chance of success. So if you guys want to ultimately be successful, we got to get you to the point where you believe people are better off with Cutco and start using it, right? I showed who was a Danny the other day. I'm like, hey, you want to play Fruit Ninja? She's like, what do I play it with? I'm like, don't put the butcher knife down. Get that slicer. Check this out. And she's like, oh, I'm like, don't cut your finger off though, because that could be bad. But her conviction went up. Okay. The second thing is you could be a dealer, right? We talked about dealers. Dealers are here. You believe it. This is probably where you're at if you don't use Cutco. So let's talk about being a dealer. You believe the product is good, but it's not necessarily for everyone until you start using it. And you're like, dude, I'm 19, 18, 20, and I think this is good. If I believe it's good, my mom definitely thinks it's good. The neighbor down the street definitely thinks it's good. People that like cook food every day definitely thinks it's good. You lack conviction, so we got to get you some Cutco, ASAP Rocky. Until then, here's what I want you to do is I want you to lean on the belief of your managers that we're not lying to you, that this stuff is awesome. So if you're not sure about it personally firsthand, lean into our belief and that we're not full of shiitake mushrooms. Even though we could probably use a petite Santoku to cut up some shiitakes, we're not going to. And then you can also, you understand this, right? So if you're here as a promoter, look, you can sell based on your personality, and some of you guys might be selling on personality and the fact that the clients are the right clients, but you don't really believe that they should buy it, right? That's not going to lead to long-term success. So there's a really simple solution. We got to get you to believe that this product is awesome and start using it once you have the opportunity to do that. And you never want to be here as a pusher. You only do this job for personal gain. This is what gives sales a bad name. You guys are like, if you're like, I don't like salespeople because of people that push products. You feel what I'm saying? When you sell cheap, crappy stuff, you become a pusher. You don't want to be a pusher. You probably can't feel very good about yourself either. So you want to make sure you're not in that realm, right? You lack morality. Like, again, if you don't believe Cutco is fundamentally beneficial for somebody, I would say you're in alignment or a lack of integrity, and that's a problem. So we got to get you on this side of, hey, man, people actually benefit from owning this product. And you're going to probably cut corners to get a result. Hopefully we have no pushers on this call, but if you are, dude or dudette, talk to your manager and let's get that straightened out, because again, broker relationship is the best place to be. I have zero problem selling Cutco to anybody. I just probably wouldn't spend a lot of time talking to an 18-year-old about why they should buy Cutco, because in my mind, that's not worth my time. I don't want to spend 35 minutes hard closing an 18-year-old to buy $100 of stuff to make 30 bucks. I rather allocate my time to someone that can buy a homemaker signature or better, because that's going to be worth $600 or $700, not 30 bucks of my time. You guys feel what I'm saying? So I could do it, but why? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay. So other thing we want to, by the way, real quick, write down what you just heard. So I want you to go ahead and text your manager what you just heard me say. And where are you? Are you a broker? Are you a pusher? Are you a promoter? Or where are you in this matrix? Okay. Go ahead and text your manager really quick. So if you're my rep, text me. Where are you? Are you dealer, broker, pusher, promoter? Because we're going to we'll have a conversation with you to try to help you with this. Does that make sense? So be honest. We're not going to be mad at you if you feel like you're a pusher right now. If you're a pusher, we just need to have some conversations. It's really simple. So go ahead and text your manager real quick. I don't see any text coming in. Let's go. That's better. All right. I got a broker. That's what's up, Amanda. All right. There we go. All right. All right. Ben, we just took you from a promoter to a broker. I love it. I love it. All right. Let's get some. Probably a promoter. All right. We got to get that. That's okay. Ooh, we got to get that, Eric. All right. I got to fix that, buddy. All right. We got to get you some Cutco, man. We got to get you a taste. All right. So moving on real quick here. Right here, trying means I don't have much certainty, so I'm not going to take much action, which means you're less likely to be successful. Here's what I want you guys to think about. If the first couple of days you were trying, you're like, I'm going to try this out and see how it goes. What do you think the outcome is going to be? When you're trying something, are you really putting your best effort into it? Probably not. So what's the likely outcome going to be? It's probably not going to be very good. What if instead of trying, you actually just were like, I'm going to follow the program, I'm going to see what's up, and then I'm going to make a decision based on the results of actually applying myself 100%. Have any of you guys ever tried in a relationship before? How good was that relationship? Probably not great, because you're like, yeah, it's going okay. Dude, be the person you'd want to date. If you're not being that person, no kidding, the other person doesn't want to date you because they're getting a half-assed version of yourself. How do you think you're showing up to the appointments? Guys, again, I think this about any appointment. The purpose of the demo is not to like sell Cutco. It's to remind people about what's important in life. And that's because you show up with enthusiasm, fun, and you're making it an enjoyable experience that like reframes like what it could be. It's really that simple. So if you're showing up to appointments, again, and you're actually like trying, you're going to get the best version of yourself. And what starts to happen? You actually become that person. And it feels pretty awesome to be, right? Again, I could speak whenever I want, but when I speak, I want to be able to speak like this. I don't want to speak like, yeah, I mean, we tried real well. The team did great. We tried. F trying. Do it. Let's go. It's Saturday morning. You're up. You might as well give it a shot. Let's roll. So let's do this. In terms of the communication process, definitely write this down. Definitely write this down. In any communication process, there's 3 things happening on any level. The first is this: 7% of what you're communicating are the actual words you're saying. So you could be following the manual, but if you're saying it like a sad puppy, yeah, so I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you this question. Did you want to go in and get this set of Cutco today and get your shears for free? Yeah, no one does. It's okay. No kidding, you're not selling anything. Are you kidding me? No kidding, you're not closing sales. I would be like, Mr. Jones, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you the question. Would you like to get the Homemaker today, along with your free gifts of the super shears, the cutting board, sharpener, and most importantly, cover your family's buns? I'm having fun. I'm putting it all out there. Why? Because I'd rather be playful than be a weenie. Really simple, right? The words are only 7%. That's why, by the way, communicating via text is maybe the worst way you can ever communicate, because you're missing out on 93% of the actual communication process. 38% is tonality. You guys see that? 38% of tonality. And so the fact that we're in a virtual world, what does that mean? That means I have to give more effort, more energy to convey what I want to convey. Just so you guys know, I'm probably going to start sweating. I'm on the verge of sweating right now because I'm applying effort. And that happened in person too. Nathan, you can attest to this. I was like, if I'm not sweating in training, I'm not trying hard enough. And I'd be dripping sweat by the end of training because I was like, if you guys are going to get what I want you to give, I have to give it first. Tonality and voice inflection matters. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you this question. You guys see the difference of I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you this question. You have to give more. And 55% is body language. That's why I think it's vital that people are on video, because I can read someone's body language that quick. And also too, if I want good tonality, guess what my body's going to do? My body's going to move around so I can give that. It's that simple. If I'm smiling, I sound different than if I'm not smiling. So friggin' smile and have fun. If you need to play some music beforehand, let's get you into the right state to do this. By the way, who right now is already starting to feel like, all right, yeah, I didn't do this all the way. I could do this better. Does anyone like, I could do this better? For sure you could. For sure you could. And if you're going to do it, you might as well do it to your full capacity versus half-assing it. Because again, what do you expect you're going to get if you give it half-ass effort? You're going to get half-ass results. By the way, who would be fired up? Who's ever got that $5,000 in sales? That dude just made $800. I think it was Mitchell. He just made $800 in the last 3 days. How many of you guys would be like, yeah, all right, I could be probably pretty fired up if I made $800. The only way you're going to make $800 is if you start spitting fire. Get some dragon breath. And that's why it's so important that you believe what you're saying, because if you don't believe what you're saying, that ain't going to work. It's that simple. I want you to be in alignment and then be fired up about whatever you do. And again, why are we teaching you guys this now? We're teaching this because if you want to be a person of influence later in life, you got to learn how to influence now. Anyone that buys Cutco, guess what? They're going to have it for the rest of their life. Great move. eventually when you leave Cutco and do whatever you're going to do, whether it's in a couple of weeks, couple months, couple of years, whatever, if you want to be a person of influence, you better speak like I'm speaking. Otherwise, that ain't happening. I'm telling you that right now. So hopefully you guys are learning this. This is the better way to live. It's more exciting. Okay. So reasons come first, answers come second. So let me help you guys with this. I bet also too, when you guys are explaining why you're doing this job, you're giving really, really weak reasons. Some of you might actually be giving good reasons, but Marcel just kind of goes, yeah, okay. If you're like, I'm doing this job so I can get some experience. That is a weak reason. We're going to strengthen that right now. So what I want to do is do this. I want to help you guys do a better job of sharing your whys. The world is full of surface level conversations. I want you to go deeper. You need you to go deeper. The world needs you to go deeper. So would anyone want to be a volunteer right now in this exercise? Okay, Mackenzie says yes. Kiki, by the way, I just learned her name is Kiki. That's such a more fun name to say than Mackenzie. So Kiki, are you with? That's a Drake song, right? Kiki? I think so. Okay. Yeah, it is. Okay. So Kiki, let me ask you this. What are you saying right now? Can you unmute yourself? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So if I said, why are you doing this job? Why are you here? Go ahead and tell me, please.
Because I'm learning sales in school right now, and that's what I want to do after college.
Okay, by the way, how many of you guys felt compelled emotionally to help her do anything she wants right there? Did anyone feel that with that statement? Because I didn't. Okay, so let's try this. Kiki, what's a level deeper, right? So why do you want to learn sales experience?
Because well, I do want to get the experience. That's something I do want to get, but like I feel like
Why? So let me help you again.
more
So,
beneficial.
So let me help you. Why do you want experience? Why do you need experience?
Because I want to be a great salesman when I get out of school, so then I can go into a professional job that does it.
Cool. And why do you want a professional job that has sales?
Because I love talking to people.
Cool. And why do you love talking to people?
Because I like having a connection with people.
You love or like?
Love.
You love.
I love making connections with new people, so that's why I like talking to people.
And why do you love making new connections with new people?
Because I get to meet more people and like learn about them, and I like having a big network and like.
And why does that matter? By the way, I'm pressing her a little bit, right? Because here's the reality is the deeper you go, the more I can move you in a couple sentences rather than the surface level answer. So if you say I'm doing this to get experience, here's wow, that just kind of flew my mouth. Kiki, I might say, hey, the reason why I'm doing this job, Mrs. Jones, is because I've always felt compelled to people and connecting. I just love meeting new people. And I feel like this is a phenomenal opportunity for me to build strong relationships. So later in life, when I find something I'm really excited about, I have all the connections and networks set up so that I can really kind of move the needle on the world. Mm-hmm. Now, how many of you guys, if Kiki said that, you guys would be like, oh, all right, I want to help you a little bit. I'd be more compelled with that. Do you guys understand that? Those things are all available. And Kiki, that's probably why you want to do it, right? That's why you're motivated to do those things, but you're not articulated, especially with yourself, but also your customers. So how could your customers ever like really want to help you to the level they could if they just knew why you're doing it? Do you guys see the difference there? And this is available to any of you guys. There's no like answer that they're like, well, that's Kiki's answer. That can't be mine. If it's true, then it is. So what I want you guys to do is this, is let's take 5 to 6 minutes real quickly in this. Here's what you're going to do is you're going to write down whatever you're saying right now. And it doesn't matter if you're doing this for experience, you're doing it for money, you're doing it for whatever. Write it down. And then I want you to ask yourself internally, why? And then ask yourself again, why? And then ask yourself again, why, until there's something raw and there's something like that's an actual thing that you're like, ooh, that's it. And then we're going to like help you guys practice saying that, because why? This is the first thing I told you guys on day one. Vulnerability creates trust. If I'm willing to get vulnerable with someone in the beginning of the demo, do you think it's more likely they're going to trust me? 100%. Do you think it's more likely they're going to like me? Yes, because they relate to me on a fundamental level and they might want to actually help me out. I don't want to like connect with someone on a cognitive level. I want to connect with them on an emotional level. Because if I can connect emotionally, I can move freaking mountains. Do you guys feel what I'm saying? By the way, if you're an assistant manager or whatever, if you have never done this, get your pen, get your paper, put pen to paper and start writing some things down. Even if you're a DM, this is good to remind. Why are you doing this job as a DM? I know why. Because I feel like this is a position where I can influence a hell of a lot of people. I'm not going to figure out cure for cancer. I'm not going to figure out the political reform, but maybe I talk to someone or touch somebody in an interview training or something like this where I have an impact. And that sounds pretty freaking badass. I would love to be the modern age Socrates with Aristotle and Plato because his shit's still being talked about 2,000 years later. So if I can just be the next generation, that'd be fired up. Why are you guys doing what you're doing? I am officially sweating now, by the way. It's official. It's okay to laugh, Sophie. I'm not afraid to sweat. If I'm not sweating, I'm not working. Write it down. You guys got another 2 to 3 minutes. We getting some good stuff? All right. I would love to do some shares, but I'm going to stay on time and not do shares. So switch that. All right. Was this, by the way, now I can see everybody. Was this helpful? Do you guys, anyone feel more inspired to do this? Because here's the reality, guys, is this. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen in a second. I think the more you learn from different places in life. Okay, I just screwed that up. Okay, I think you guys see screen one. You guys see my slide deck right now? Yes. Amy, Lucy, see.
All right, that's not me, right? That's Chris. Is that correct?
Correct.
Ryan? Cool. Okay. So first of all, let's give Chris a nice round of applause and say thank you very much. All right, let me share my screen and bam. All right, cool. All right, so how many of you felt, and I'm gonna stop sharing. How many felt like that was worth it? Like you learned something, right? Branch managers, branch managers, assistant managers, I want you to write in the chat what you learned and what you're